Hello there. My name's William Sargent and I have a collection of Lincolnshire chairs. I've been collecting them for a number of years, and here is a really fine example of a Lincolnshire spindleback Windsor chair. You're going to ask me, how do I know this is a Lincolnshire chair? Well, it's obvious on this chair because it has been stamped by the maker. And if you look on the back of the seat, and it's pretty well worn now over years of use, it says Marsh, Sleaford, so we know exactly who and where this chair was made. If I just bring that a little bit closer, you might be able to see. It's a bit of a dirty mark perhaps, but it says Marsh, and the Sleaford has almost disappeared. There's two Marshes, there's a father and a son, but I'll talk a little bit about them in a minute. This is a typical Lincolnshire chair. Every component is made out of ash. That's an ash seat, underarm support, all these spindles are ash, and all the legs are ash. I think the father and son combination of Marshes made the strongest, finest chairs in Lincolnshire. And over the years, I've found quite a few of them. And here's another one. I got this one in Lincoln, at the sale rooms in Lincoln a few years ago. And again, every component is made out of ash. This one has had its legs shortened a little bit, which just unbalances a little bit, which is a shame, but it's a fine chair nonetheless. You see these underarm supports are identical to each other. And again, at the back here, it is stamped Marsh of Sleaford. Because I've collected quite a few chairs over the years, I have got to recognise features about the Marsh chairs which they used and nobody else did. But people might have used individual features, but as a combination it is possible to pick out Marsh chairs even though they're not signed. I'll just tell you a little bit about Marshes first of all. The father was called Thomas Marsh, and he was born in 1779 in Bilborough in Nottingham, and Bilborough then was a little village on the edge of Nottingham, and since then, with the expansion of the city, it has been encompassed into Nottingham itself. In 1802 he got married in Grantham into that wonderful St Wolfram's Church in the middle of Grantham, and when he got married, the person who witnessed the marriage were not the parents, but it was Richard and Elizabeth Hubbard. Now, if you know your chair makers, you'll probably recognise that Richard Hubbard was a fine chair maker from Little Donaby as well. He witnessed their marriage. And in the following year, in 1803, they had their first child, and that child was called James Marsh. And they used the middle name of Thompson, and he often signed himself James Thompson Marsh, so he's easy to trace through the records. I think I'm right in saying that the father, Thomas Marsh, died when he was 64, and I think that makes it about 1841, and he's buried in Sleaford. And his son, James Thompson Marsh, continued making chairs for a long time in Sleaford. I can't find his death anywhere in the records, but he was mentioned in 1870 in the Sleaford Gazette, but he does not appear in the 1871 census, and he would have been about, I think then, about 67, and I just presumed he died at 1870 or 1871. So they probably were making these chairs for the best part of 50 years, and they would have made thousands of these chairs. And like all the other Lincolnshire chair makers, they not only made Windsor chairs, these armed Windsor chairs, they also made other variety of chairs. And they made side chairs. Look at that for a beautiful, elegant, well-balanced side chair. That one's got the bow back, and this one has got the bar back. All of them are stamped Marsh of Sleaford. And here's another one. I've got several of these. These are really beautifully made chairs. Again, that's ash, In fact, this seat is made out of elm, just to prove that they did use elm on occasions. I would say that something like 80 to 85% of Lincolnshire chairs that I find have got ash seats. Every other component is made out of ash. And because I've got a collection of these Marsh chairs, there's certain features which I mentioned, which I'm just going to run through with you now to show you what stands out as Marsh chairs. One feature that they always used, and not all of the Lincolnshire chair makers used, was put pins through at the back. And you probably can't see these pins, but there are pins in all of these chairs driven through at the back. This one's got it as well. I'll bring this one a bit closer, and you can quite clearly see there's a pin there, there's one there, and there's another one there. All aids the construction of these chairs and makes them so robust. Another reason why these chairs are so long-lived is because Marshes put a lot of wood into their chairs. I weigh all the chairs that I get and note them down. Invariably, Marsh chairs are always the heaviest. The reason they're the heaviest is because they use thick seats. They always use, I think it's about 1 7/8 that started out as, and these front legs are big as well. Another feature to notice about the Marsh chairs, and I'll point this out to you, is the darts that they use at the end of the cross structure. Now that one hasn't got it, I know, and that is a pretty rare chair. I've only ever seen two like that, but all the other Marsh chairs I've seen have these darts. It's quite a common feature in Lincolnshire chairs, but another feature is this little incised mark which they put on these side stretchers, and every one of these chairs, and more behind me as well, have all got that feature. They were not afraid of showing that constructional technique. And so, with that in mind, I thought that it's possible to pick out Marsh chairs even though they're not signed. And as luck would have it, a few years ago, at a sale in Grantham, I found this chair. This, I knew, or I thought I knew, was made by Marshes of Sleaford. There is no signature on the back, so nobody could tell who made it. This was not even in an antique sale, it was just in the regular fortnightly house clearance sale. There were several chairs like this, went for next to nothing. When I looked at this chair, first thing I did was to turn it round and look at that. There's a pin, there's a pin, there's a pin. It's extremely heavy with a great big thick seat. There is the incised mark there as well. And you've got the darts going across that cross structure. I knew that chair was made by the Marshes. But a few months later, I found this on eBay. I had to travel up to North Lincolnshire to collect this chair, and it was well worth doing because this one is stamped Marsh of Sleaford. This chair is identical to that, and it just proved my point that it is possible to pick out Marsh chairs even though they're not stamped. Another feature I'll point out to you is this. Just look at these two front legs here. They are identical. I can stand any chair next to each other and you'll see they always had identical front legs. So when it comes to construction of these chairs, they had a bin of front legs and they would have had a bin of back legs, and they knew that they were all identical and they would all fit every chair. It makes construction so easy. Well, there you are. There's a little bit about Marsh chairs. I hope you've enjoyed watching that. There's many of these chairs about. You can still pick them up. There is one more chair which I haven't got, and that is a slightly smaller version of this. It's in an office in Grantham, and I hope to get my hands on it one day to record it. And if you do want to see more pictures and images of Lincolnshire chairs, if you type into Google Lincolnshire Chair Museum, that will take you straight to my Flickr photo sharing website, and if you navigate around the photo stream, I've got dozens and dozens of Lincolnshire chairs on there, and I've also put notes on the makers when I found them. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you another day.